And welcome back to the show. The sun isn't the only thing sizzling this summer. Look at these tomatoes. And you know what? There's so much you can do with it. I'm hanging out here in the kitchen, Public Affairs on Peach, with Sean O'Keefe, the one and the only Sean O'Keefe. Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you this morning?
I am great. How are you?
Good. Very good. Thank you.
Summertime, beautiful outside. Tomatoes probably really ripe right now, right?
Tomatoes are incredible right now. I planted early. I have about 40 varieties of tomatoes in my backyard right now, and everything that you see here tomato-wise was picked this morning for the show.
Have you ever had a tomato sandwich?
Yes.
I love tomato sandwiches.
Tomato pie.
Tomato pie is great too.
Tomato bread and butter pudding.
I haven't had that yet.
Really good. Olive oil instead of butter.
Okay.
Tomatoes instead of the chocolate or the banana or whatever else you would add into it. And then it's just a straight bake. And it ends up being a savory. You can put basil and herbs and parsley or thyme, any of those sort of really fresh, fragrant summer herbs into it. And bake it, slice it, and serve it with a nice bit of sour cream.
Sounds great.
It's really simple.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about tomatoes. There's so much you can do with them. So let's talk about some easy things that we can do at home that make a great meal here.
Simply, I always have leftover bread. And when you have tomato plants in the backyard, you always have tomatoes. Like literally, I'm giving bags of them to my neighbors at this point. And I thought to myself, like sort of the classic tomato salad is a panzanella, which is a Tuscan salad from Italy.
Sure. And
it's leftover stale bread with tomatoes, onions, olive oil, and red wine vinegar. So I already have Sweet 100s, golden yellows, and there's another one in here. The name will come to me in a minute, with a little julienne of red onion and some fresh basil from, again, the garden. And then to this, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of olive oil.
Okay.
About 1/3 of a cup of a really nice red wine vinegar, and some salt and pepper. So we'll go into our little fancy Olivewood salt cellar here and just do a little bit of salt. The salt's really going to bring the flavor forward and like all the tomatoes sort of get really great. And then a whole bunch of cracked black pepper. And really, that's it. You'll go ahead and mix these around.
How long do you do that? Just
you know, just for a couple of minutes. You really just want to make sure that you've added enough force to the bowl to make the olive oil and the vinegar come together a little tiny bit. And then in a classic Italian preparation of this dish, you actually mince the bread. You make it up into a spongy kind of consistency.
Okay.
I don't like that. I'm more of a texture style person with my cooking, so as long as I can make things sort of maintain their original form, I like that. And then the olive oil and the flavors that are in here will all meld up, and we'll just toss that around. Pardon me for 1 second. So that's going to just
everything smells very fresh.
You know, it's very light, it's very easy, it's very summer. So if you wanted to make this salad, and you know, typically when I'm entertaining, people get really like, oh, I can't do it all in the same like last half hour before the guests get here.
Right.
So the tomatoes and the onions and the olive oil and vinegar and salt and pepper can be doing a day and a half ahead, almost.
Okay.
Placed in the refrigerator and allow them to macerate in that olive oil and vinaigrette. And then add the bread last minute, or the crouton last minute. And then that's basically it. If you were to stir that for me for a second.
Now, is the bread hard?
It's a crouton.
Oh, it's more of a crouton. Okay.
It's a day-old or a 2-day-old baguette that I've just chopped a little bit more into rough pieces. You can see there's really nothing that is like the other piece there. And I just toasted it for about 4 or 5 minutes just to get that extra crunch. Again, trying to maintain the absolute authenticity of it, you know. So I mean, mushy bread is mushy bread.
Right.
This way, you're going to have beautiful bread pieces, and then tons of fresh basil and the onion, and it's a simple salad.
Sure.
And that's it.
Well, you know, Sean, I mean, the idea of taking bread that's been sitting around, you know, instead of throwing it out, you utilize it here on a fantastic salad. What a great idea.
It's so simple. And I mean, all of these things are peasant foods. You know what I mean? In our cooking, we go back to the way, like bread and butter pudding I mentioned earlier. It's a way to use up leftovers. And we do it this way, and it's a savory dish that's sort of a great part of a summer alfresco dining experience.
This is really
okay. So we're going to keep moving down the aisle a bit.
Let's move on down.
I had to, only because they look like garden tools. So I picked a nice, again, I love the stainless steel or the different kinds of silver.
Makes for a nice presentation.
It makes for a really beautiful presentation. So we have the tomatoes, and the bread, and the onions all together like that.
Okay.
we can take, if you want to pick a couple of basil tops off the top of that for me.
Okay, here we go. Just right here? Is that fine
Yeah,
or deeper here?
absolutely. That's perfectly fine.
There you go.
And then we
grab
can
a couple-
add that as a little garnish to the side. Take
Talk about fresh here, Sean.
take
This
a
is as
tomato
fresh
that
as
I
it gets.
just. I mean, it's simple and easy. So we
Look at
have
this.
half a tomato that we'll just add in here.
It's like it's right out of the garden.
Well, I mean, I picked it this morning.
Am I
I've got
messing up
them.
your
No, you're
presentation?
perfect.
Okay, great.
I've got the mosquito bites to prove it. And then to change it up a little bit more, what I'm going to do is for plating this dish. Last night I made ricotta, and it's the simplest thing in the world to make. It's buttermilk,
Delicious, yeah.
whole milk, and heavy cream. You bring it to a short boil, stir it, and let it sit. And homemade ricotta is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So for the presentation of the dish, I'm going to take a quenelle of the ricotta, which is basically a little sort of football-shaped piece, like that. Let me just get that out of there.
That
and
is
then
delicious
I've got
looking.
a little bit of truffle olive oil.
Okay.
And then this is a sweet balsamic vinaigrette. I'm going to move over here. And then I'm going to take a great portion of the salad again.
Okay.
I love theming things around what I'm doing. So this is a garden presentation.
Wow.
So what I did for the centerpiece was bring the herbs that I would use with this salad in from the garden.
So can I try this?
Yeah, you certainly may.
We're under like 30 seconds here. And
I'm
going
going to give that to you.
Okay. Okay.
There's a fork directly
Right
in front
here.
of you.
All right.
And then with this, I paired a lovely Chardonnay. It's very simple. It's light, really buttery. It's going to balance with the cheese. It's going to balance, and all the vinegars will come together. And it's simple, and it's easy, and it's clean, and it's fresh. And anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Fresh. That's the key word
It's
here.
fresh.
This is delicious.
I'm glad you like
Sean
it.
O'Keefe, thank you so much. I've got my
Pleasure's
mouth
mine.
full. Let me let that go down.
Keep chewing.
Ah, it's good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Enjoy your holiday
job.
weekend.
Holiday weekend, that's right. Hope everyone is. And what great ideas here from Sean O'Keefe. Now, coming up in just a few moments, we're going to tell you about sunscreen. You're going to be outside. You need to know what you should wear to protect yourself because it is hot. Come back on Public Affairs on Peach and enjoy the last of the half hour.